So now let's go ahead and take a look through the essays, see what they're going to look like. So here in the course introduction module, I've added a couple things toward the bottom that I'll keep here throughout the semester for you to look back to. One is a document showing you how to structure these essays. And you'll notice I'll show you that if you're following um, the prompt directly, it will kind of automatically help you set up this structure I'm looking for here. But you got that, and you have an example essay here as well. This is a good, high quality essay. This is what you're shooting for, and I've left a bunch of notes in the margin to show you things to look out for. Okay, and I'll review all that with you here in a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first. I'm gonna download this. Always got to enable editing. So here's what I'm always going to be looking for. Okay, essentially, if you're following the prompts, you're gonna end up with a nice 5-paragraph essay. I want you to start with an introduction separate from your first body paragraph. Okay, I'm going to say that again. An introduction that's separate from your first body paragraph. Okay, in your introduction, I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for a little historical context. That can really just be a sentence, a couple sentences, but this is some historical background, identifying kind of the main topic you'll be writing about and setting the stage for the rest of the paper, preferably in a way that does not state word for word I will be writing about, or this paper will be about. Definitely not that first one, because we want to avoid first person pronouns. Okay. Um, and then your thesis should be a direct response to the question in the prompt. When we look at the example prompt in a minute here, and I show you the other prompts, you'll notice that they all have a question in them. Your thesis needs to answer the question to receive full credit. That can gain or lose you a good amount of credit, whether or not your thesis answers the question. All right. And you'll see that they're all posed in ways to where the way you answer the question will require you to make a historical interpretation. And I'm never going to grade you based on the way you choose to answer the question. Okay. So if I'm asking, is this true or is that true? And you choose A over B, I'm not going to count that against you. That's your historical interpretation. All right. You've seen the evidence. You have every right to come to that interpretation. I'm simply looking to see, do you choose A or B, or do you dodge the question altogether? You need to answer the question. Okay. Again, I'll show you an example here in a minute to show you what I mean by that. Then your body paragraphs. Okay. You'll have 3 separate body paragraphs that all serve as pieces of evidence, essentially backing up what you've stated here in your thesis. All right. I'm asking that you start out each paragraph with a topic sentence that kind of sets the stage for what this paragraph will address. Again, when we look at the prompts in a minute here, we'll see that they all show you step by step. In your first body paragraph, write about this. In your second body paragraph, write about this. And your third body paragraph, write about this. All right. It spells it out for you word for word. Only thing you really need to think of is adding a topic sentence and putting it in some kind of structure order that makes sense. Okay. And be sure that all of your information you're including in these essays is coming directly from class sources, meaning assigned readings, videos, and class lecture material, nothing else. Okay. Don't want to see information from Google. I don't want to see information that you apparently learned back in AP US history. Um, definitely don't want to see anything copy and pasted from ChatGPT or from somebody else's paper. Just do the work. I'm giving you the answers here. I'm showing you up front what you need to know. Just do it. Okay. So you'll do this same process here for your 3 body paragraphs. Again, the prompt will show you exactly what to write in these. Last step will be to write a conclusion. Here you're going to reassert your thesis and tie your main points covered in the prompt here to the thesis. This is also somewhere where if you have some personal things you'd like to add about this particular topic, you can certainly do so in your conclusion. All right. I don't want to stop you from that. I do want to see that you can give me some scholarly writing by interpreting the evidence you're seeing in the lectures, readings, and videos. That's why I want you to follow this format here. But in your conclusion, have at it. Say what you got to say. Again, this is located at the bottom of the intro module. All right, so see here, I put all these notes out to the side. Don't freak out. This isn't me grading somebody's paper, tearing them up. This is just me leaving notes to you saying, hey, look, this is doing exactly what I'd like to see. Replicate this. All right. But take a look at this prompt here. You'll notice there is a question here. That's the question that needs to be answered in the thesis. All right. So the introduction will start out with a little bit of context and then answer that question. Then it shows here step by step. In your first body paragraph, write about this. In your second body paragraph, write about this. In your final body paragraph, write about this. Follow that order. Use that structure. Right? You'll be graded based on how well you follow the structure, in addition to how well you're using the class sources to respond to each section here. Okay, so your introduction again needs to end with a thesis that directly answers the question. Saying it over and over because every single semester I say it over and over, and there's always a handful of people who just choose not to do that. All right. Then you'll see here each of these body paragraphs starts out with a topic sentence that kind of sums up what this paragraph is going to be all about. And then it follows exactly what the prompt asks it to do in each body paragraph. And then it's all tied together with a nice little conclusion that ties this evidence here back into the thesis and in a way reaffirms the thesis in different words. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Let me show you real quick the essay questions on the exam review. Take a look, you'll see all of these follow that exact same format. All right. They have a question, and then they say first body paragraph, second body paragraph, final body paragraph. So you can follow that exact same format for all of these. So you'll notice there's 7 different prompts on here. Okay. You're only expected and required to write one of these, and I will only grade one of these. So don't think you can impress me by writing 3 essays because I'm only going to read the first one. All right. But I'll let you pick which of these you find most interesting, which of these you feel most comfortable responding to. What I'd recommend doing is reviewing these as we cover these certain topics. All right, these first few here are on the different on the different lectures on Reconstruction. So you should be able to look over those as you're looking through the lectures on Reconstruction, keeping some of these questions in mind. And then on and all these other topics, you can do the same thing and choose whichever one you'd like to respond to come the exam. A few things I'm looking out here in terms of writing. I would like us to try to practice scholarly, professional academic writing by avoiding using first person pronouns, all right? Distancing ourselves a little bit from the subject we're writing about by avoiding using words like I, me, you, we. We need to keep this in the past tense, all right? Using words like was rather than is, had, not has, when we're writing about the past. On that same standard, later down here, I ask you to avoid making references to today. Okay, that same thing with your ID terms. Please don't try to tell me that something's significant because it's leads us to the great moment we have today. All right. Usually, when people start writing about today, it's a cop out just to really make sense of the evidence I provided. Okay, so please just avoid that altogether. That will cost you points. All right. Keep in the past tense, both in terms of the words you use and avoiding referencing today. All right. Another big thing, though. Okay, so this is college level writing. I want you to use your spell check, write complete sentences, but that doesn't mean I'm looking for anything complicated. Quite the opposite, actually. I'd like you to get to the point and get your words out. All right. I had a professor who used to always tell us, don't ramble on about how you reside in a domicile with a feline and a canine, and now you are filled with the greatest despair a man could possibly imagine, because on the day before this day, the canine consumed the feline. You're going to get your point across a lot more clearly if you just say, I live in a house with a dog and a cat, and I'm very sad because yesterday my dog ate my cat. Proofread your work, make sure it reads clearly. You could maybe have a classmate read over it, a friend, family member. If you need help structuring this, writing, whatever, you can take all this by the writing center on campus or set up an online appointment with them. They're very, very helpful. And of course, I'm also available for office hours. I'd love to help you structure anything, organize your thoughts, set up your essays, um, proofread parts of them, etc. Whatever you find helpful as you're working. But just keep in mind, the sooner you ask questions, the better.